how do you guys think that they're on Instagram? So how do you think they're selling these courses, having the time to do these once a week meetups? It's because they have a team. You don't see me up here by myself. You don't see Owen up here by himself, right? We have a team behind us. You go faster and you go farther with a team. You can. Good deal. So today what we're going to kind of go over is something that Owen and I were just talking about recently, which was kind of why a lot of barbershops fail, or they get stuck, or they kind of can't surpass a ceiling, and then really some ways to break through that. So whether it's you've been growing your shop, or at least trying to for the last several years, last several months, nothing seems to be clicking. You've had a shop for maybe half a decade plus, and you're kind of just in this limbo, which we've seen a lot of times as well. So, I'll kind of leave it up to you to kind of kick this thing off. What are you thinking, especially when it comes to the initial conversations we're having with barbershop owners, even barbers in general? We can kind of have a two-pronged approach here. But when it comes to growth, and guys are feeling like they're stuck, and they're coming to us saying, we're at this place, we've been here for a while. This day is always slow. Our walk-in traffic's down. I guess, where does your mind go?
I think like the crux of most of that problem is the majority of barbershop owners don't know where to turn when it's happening, because as we know, and as all of you listening know, every barbershop owner was just a good barber with a big client list that wanted to start out and do their own thing. So when it comes to tracking operational efficiencies, hiring, what prices that you should be charging, all of these things are really important when it comes to breaking through, ceilings, barriers, whatever. But if you don't have any background in doing something like that before, or learning about it or anything, it's really difficult, and that's why you find yourself where you are. So I think some of the biggest ones that we've seen are they can't break through a certain revenue ceiling because they have their, client list, they have their regular clientele, they come in, that's their consistent flow for appointments. Maybe they get 20 new clients a month. How many they retain, who knows? And then they have a specific amount of walk-ins. Maybe you get 5 to 20 walk-ins a week. And those numbers are staying the same consistently. There's no growth in those numbers, so that's why you're not seeing a revenue increase. That's probably the biggest one, and probably the one that affects people the most. I think the next one is in terms of hiring barbers. Because as we know, one of the most consistent and sustainable ways to increase your revenue growth is to increase the amount of chairs you have. And there's this cycle that barbershop owners get in where maybe barbers stay for 1 to 3 years, maybe 4 years, but they're not staying for that long of a period of time. So every one, let's just say, for example, every 1 to 3 years, you're going to lose a barber, and if you don't have it set up correctly, you're going to lose probably all of their clientele, or at least 75-80% of it. So they know that's coming, and one, they don't know how to replace that barber themselves, and two, they don't know how to replace their clientele. So when a sizable chunk of your clientele leaves, there goes a lot of your revenue. So now you're just fighting to get back up to the place that you were. And then, so those are kind of the two big ones I think that I see. Do you have any other ones?
In particular, I think with the barbers leaving point, what a lot of guys go wrong at is not creating an environment that people want to stay in, whether it's culture, whether it's the amount of walk-in traffic that you can generate for your shop.
Mhm.
I think not investing in some of those ideas that we've talked about or those tactics that we've talked about over the last several weeks or that we talk about on the pod is one of the biggest reasons, because I think you can change that narrative. I think it's not good enough to just simply be okay with, yeah, we go this through this hiring cycle of guys
Yeah.
are here for 6 months, a year and a half, or whatever, and then they leave.
Mhm.
I think if you to obviously you're always going to have churn, no matter what the business model is, no matter what
Yep.
industry that you're in, clients or people, they're inevitably people are going to leave. But I think you can drastically reduce that rate when it
Yeah.
comes to some of the things that you're willing to do for your shop in particular. And I think
Mhm.
with your barbers, that's, to your point, the biggest way, or I guess I wouldn't say the easiest way to grow, but I guess one of the main ways to grow, to your point, is just to add more chairs, add more barbers. But you have to be able to create an environment where guys even want to come work for you in the first place, not just because, oh,
Yeah.
these guys are the closest to my house, or they're the most known barbershop in the city. I mean, that can play a factor, but what else do you offer to guys other than the fact that we're close to where you are, or where you're located, or whatever the case might be? I guess that's
Yeah.
probably one of my biggest things.
Yeah. And in this point of, yes, obviously the easiest way to get more revenue is to get more barbers, hypothetically,
Yeah.
right? But the problem with most barbershops is they don't understand how to drive traffic and capture attention.
Yeah.
So, like, we know a barbershop owner that we've worked with, and he wanted to forget if it was like 8 chairs or 10. He wanted to expand to
Yeah. I
eight
don't
to
know.
10 chairs, but I think he was at six, maybe, or five. He had 6 chairs, but maybe only 4 or 5 barbers, something in that range, where he brought in some young guys, some guys fresh out of school, and he didn't know how to drive traffic. And so we were driving the traffic for him, which is that, I mean, that's what we do. But if you're a barbershop owner and you're not running paid advertising, or if you're running paid advertising and it's not going well, or you don't have good local SEO, or you don't know how to drive walk-in traffic, you run into this problem of either barbers won't stay, because if you're a booth rent shop, they're not going to really stay if there's no walk-in traffic, if they don't have a huge client list already, or they're going to leave because if you're hourly or commission, there's no, like, barbers want to cut hair. A lot of the, like, I know there's some that just stand around and do whatever, but most barbers are about their money. So it's like if you're at a shop that's completely dead and the shop owner doesn't understand how to drive traffic, that's a big problem. Like, I walked into a barber shop last week. They were on the second floor of this kind of multi-storefront business complex, right?
That's
I think there
tough.
was four on the bottom, four on top. They were up top, and I walked in there dead. It
Oh yeah.
was it was an afternoon on spring break. And weekday afternoon, I'm not going to say that you should have every single chair filled, because we all know that that's not realistic. But spring break, you should have more traffic than you normally do, in theory. And so I was asking them what their problem was, and and they just kept saying, "We have no foot traffic. We have no foot traffic." And the shop owner wasn't in there at that time. I was just talking to two of the barbers. No foot traffic. And so I look up the shop on Google. Every barber has their own Booksy page. The shop itself has like 60 reviews, no website or even a Booksy landing page for the shop. And it's like, okay, and they were complaining about the location that they're in. It's like, okay, you can complain about that to a certain extent, but there's nothing is happening to drive that traffic to you. And so
On the
that's a
second floor.
yeah, exactly.
That's
So
yeah.
it's a huge problem of, if you don't know how to drive traffic, it doesn't matter if you have one barber or 15. That's the catalyst in fixing your problems, is you have to be able to drive traffic and know how to drive traffic. So I think that in and of itself is a huge stepping stone to breaking through a lot of these, barriers or ceilings. It's once you can control your traffic then a lot of those problems kind of go away by themselves.
That's a good
That's the
point.
one thing. That's the one thing that I've noticed a lot, where it's as we've mentioned a bunch, whether it's the content that I've been posting or what we talk about on the pod. There's a lack of care and understanding of what the digital, like the local digital presence, how massive of a factor that plays in the traffic that you receive, specifically walk-in traffic.
Yeah. Well, and there's a disconnect too between barbershop owners and their individual barbers. I think it's not, you're going to start to see how a lot of shops are starting to move in terms of investing into paid traffic, investing into
Mm.
SEO work, or even organic search in some capacity. You're going to start seeing shops who are very disconnected from their barbers in terms of, hey, my guys just work here. Like they have their
Yeah.
own, they're kind of their own bosses. They do what they want. You know, they tell us when they're going to be here. They pay booth rent and I could care less. Not saying that's
Yeah.
the exact mentality, but that's a lot of what we're getting in terms of these conversations where shop owners don't really have a vested interest, which is you're operating under false pretense in the sense that by you thinking that's their problem, that's actually your problem because now that guy's going to leave if they're not making money. And
Correct.
that's what I've seen a lot of guys are not understanding is that it's not good enough to just say, you know, they have to provide their clients and they have to do the marketing, blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying that they don't have to do that because obviously that's a way that we help barbers individually as well in
Mhm.
terms of getting themselves right, custom landing page, custom booking links, all that kinds of stuff, and actually marketing themselves. We understand that part. But then to not have a vested interest in your barbers, it's going to create problems for you long term. And that's why you're seeing guys are leaving 90 days out, 180 days out, 12
Mhm.
months out. If guys aren't making money, all the
Yep.
things that we've talked about in previous episodes of culture and team building and systems and processes, all that can be thrown out the window if guys aren't making money, as you guys are well
Mhm.
aware, right? So if you don't have the core base foundation of my guys make money, and I think that's what guys need to have the new mentality of. I know that everybody wants to be kind of like big dog at some point, and whether it's multiple locations or it's multiple six figures or mid six figures, whatever the case might be, even low six figures. A lot of guys aren't even hitting that. But I think first you need to understand, especially as a shop owner, you need to give a shit about your barbers actually
Mhm.
making money, because now when that vacancy happens, let's say that it takes you a week, 2 weeks to fill a chair the right way. Let's just say you actually want to find
That's
a
really
good
quick.
quality barber.
That's really fast.
Right. And it's even if and let's say you've taken advice like ours or some other guys and you have a hiring process, you have a vetting process, right? And it's a 14-day period from the time you find an individual and you vet them and they go through the process and you actually get them on board. That's 2 weeks you haven't collected booth rent if you're a booth rent
Mhm.
shop, let alone if you're
Yeah.
commission. That's 2 weeks you haven't collected any commissions. So
Yeah.
it's opportunity cost to you at the same time as the shop owner if you're
Mhm.
not giving a shit what your barbers do or not having a vested interest. I guess that's one of my biggest things that I've noticed.
Yeah. And there's a mindset ceiling that I think a lot of guys are in.
100%.
In terms of, like, everybody wants to be bossio. Everybody
Yep.
wants or I shouldn't say, but a lot of guys want to be able to go on Instagram and say that they're a 7-figure barbershop owner, have the clout, talk of the town, all that stuff. And there's no hate to Basio in what I'm saying, but he's a businessman. He
Yeah.
makes he makes 6 figures a month off his school group. Now,
Yeah.
granted, he also has 13 barbershops, and he has
Right.
Tomb 45, and he's a legit businessman. And
Right.
so your thought of I want to be Basio is a crazy idea if you can't even get yourself to the point of I have to invest in my shop. I have to pay for marketing. I have to pay for a good website. I need paid traffic. I
Systems,
need to invest
processes.
And so there's this. I saw a post about, and it was somebody who he's not in the barbershop world or the barber world, but he was talking about barbers. And I think that this is kind of a common theme of there's some barbers, and we've all had them, where you walk in there, you're paying anywhere from 40 to 60, 80, $100 for a cut. And it comes off as if they're doing you a favor. And so what I think a lot of barbershop owners have a difficult time understanding is just because you have a big client book does not mean you know how to run a barbershop. And this, like the same ego of I'm doing you a favor, like that's how I come off as a barber. That transfers when you're a barbershop owner of I know how to do everything because I built a big client book. And it's like, okay, that's awesome that you have 200, 400, 500 clients, whatever it is, right? Awesome. Great. You make a lot of money. Cool. You know jack shit about running a business, which is okay.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing, right? Is because especially in the barber industry, like we've worked in a lot of niches, a lot. I have never seen bravado and ego like I have in the barbershop industry, which I'm not shaming anybody for it. It's
Yeah.
just a third party looking in and, saying what I see.
Yeah.
And so because of that, barbershop owners don't want to admit when they don't know something.
Yeah.
And so that's where a lot of these problems come from in terms of not addressing issues that are there, but because you don't want to be like, hey, I don't know, or you just don't know where to turn to fix them. Because to be fair, before we came into the barbershop industry, there was never a wholesale solution that you could go out and purchase and it fixes all your problems. You could hire a local Facebook ads expert. If they're good, that's fine, but they don't do a ton. They just give you paid traffic. You could buy a website with like a pretty solid SEO package for a couple grand. That'll help 1,000%. But really, before automated barbershop, you could buy courses. Like, you could spend $3,000 on Bassio's course before he turned it into a $129 a month school group. You could
Well, and
buy,
even then,
yeah,
what guys aren't understanding about the courses and the mentorship programs, we've said it before, but they're not doing implementation for you. You're still, and this isn't even a pitch towards automated barbershop. Obviously, you guys know if you've listened to the pod before, we have our own separate ad that trickles in somewhere in the middle of every pod episode.
Mhm.
My thing about courses and programs and mentorships, I'm not against them by any means. Owen knows, Daniel knows that we've spent tens of thousands of dollars
Yeah.
over the years on courses, mentorships, and just
We pay
coaching
for
programs.
coaching and we pay for information. There's
Right. No shame in
absolutely a
that.
place for it, but we
Yeah.
use it.
Yeah. That's the thing is guys don't understand that, especially if you're playing catch up mode. And to your point, guys are not coming, most of them are not coming from a business owner kind of background, not understanding systems, processes, and procedures. So now when you go buy this course and it's just telling you these, 1, 2, 3 steps, or, hey, just do this, just do this, just do this. There's two problems to, I guess, courses, right? One, especially kind of these like baseline courses, because if a course was really, I'm going to mention this before I mention the 2 points. If a course was really, really worth it, right? And it gave you absolutely everything you needed, the information, the strategies, the systems to use, everything, right? Minus the implementation. Why would it even be $3,000? Why would it be $5,000? Why would it not be like 50 grand, 100 grand, right? Great to get. You're trying to get more people to buy it, but no, most of the time, and again, we've taken a lot of courses and programs. I have never seen one course or program that has given you every single piece of information. And sometimes it's big pieces of information that's missing. Like, hey, yeah, set the system up, not knowing oh, there's an additional cost to this subscription. Oh, you need to actually know how to do this. Or you need to know how to build automations. Or you need to know how to build out pipelines effectively. You know what I'm saying? Little things in the background that are not mentioned in the course. They might tell you, use this platform, use this strategy, but they're not telling you the inner workings of what comes with that, because there's always extra shit that comes with those
There's
particular
still
items.
growing pains, and there's still a lot of learning that has to happen even after you've spent the hours on the course.
Exactly, right? And then again, you have the implementation thing, which guys are really having a tough time understanding that if you're going to invest in a course or a program, I'm not against it. If you are going to implement it, and then understanding that that implementation is going to take time, especially to get it done right and to get it done effectively and get good at it at the same time. You're going to be spending hours of your free time when you're a barber and you're already spending 8 to 10 hours a day cutting hair. You have to understand that, like, you're going to be working now 12, 14, 15 hours a day some days, because how else are you going to get this implemented? Because again, you're not just implementing, you're also learning new information on the fly, because most guys are not familiar with automations and systems and some of the inner workings of these platforms, which is cool.
Yeah.
Like, no worries.
And the problem with the course stuff is anytime you make a change, especially with barbers and barbershops, because so many people run things the exact same way, there's going to be pushback.
Yep.
So not only are you going to have pushback, but you're going to be running into a lot of problems because you don't know what you're implementing. You're just listening to someone tell you what to implement. So there's a long stretch of time where there's growing pains, and now you're introducing new problems into the shop that weren't there before.
That's actually a really good point. When things go sideways and you don't know why they're going sideways, whether it be with Facebook ads. That's a thing that obviously our team does great, is when we run an ad, we know why it's not working. If it's not working, we know what to look for to know why it's not working. If something's not on the system side, if it's not working, if this particular platform isn't communicating with this, we know what to go and look for and say, okay, boom, now we know why it's not working. Guys don't know how to do that because these are the things that they're not telling you in the courses. They don't have time for it. Again, who's going to charge a couple $100, $1,000, anything less than 20 grand to actually give you everything you could possibly need to actually do this effectively long term and do it at a high level at the same time? Because to your point, it's not even that you can't implement it. I'm not saying that you can't throw up a Facebook ad or whatever, but what happens when the Facebook ad template that you got from the course and the affiliate, I'm going to put a lot of guys on blast that there's two examples. What happens when the Facebook ad goes sideways? It's not working. It's not performing, right? It's the same exact template that everyone else is using, and everyone else seems to be having success, but you're not having any success with it. How are you going to know what's wrong? Is it your copy? Is it your creative? Is it your targeting? Is it, you know what I mean? As you well know, right? Like you don't even know why it's not working. And the same on the system side, right? Obviously, we're familiar with Go High Level. Pretty much everybody in the world is now. So what happens when you get the Go High Level affiliate link? Some person gives you an affiliate snapshot, right? And for guys who have no idea what I'm talking about, it's just a template of resources and information that goes into your Go High Level account. But the reason I bring this up
is CRM for people that don't know.
Yeah, CRM, right? And so what happens when you get the Go High Level affiliate link? You know, the person you got the affiliate link from, the course creator that you bought the course from originally, they have a Go High Level affiliate link. They're getting paid from you being an affiliate. Boom, boom, boom. Great. What happens when an automation doesn't work? What happens when you want to add something to the system, right? You're like, oh, it would be nice to have this. You can't go hit up the course creator and be like, hey, how do I build this? You might be able to. Chances are they might not even know.
Not all of them. Yeah.
Right. They might not even know how to go in and dissect the automations, go in and build out a custom pipeline, go in and dive into the custom fields, the custom values. A lot of these things are probably foreign terms to a lot of people who might be hearing this. But the point I'm trying to make is that when you buy a course or a program, you are not getting some pretty key information. And again, this is coming from guys who have spent tens of thousands of dollars on courses and programs over the years. So we know, like, and I go into courses now with that mindset. Hey, I know I'm not getting everything here. I know that there's going to be some little things that I'm going to need, or, after the fact, I'm going to be like, oh, that'd be nice to know. But having that mindset, or at least having that information up front, for me is very critical, because I used to be that guy early in my business career, right? We get a program or a course or whatever, and we're like, dude, this is
it's going to fix everything.
It's going to fix absolutely everything, and we're not going to have any problems, right?
Yeah.
And then not knowing that, oh, you needed this, oh, you needed that, oh, you got to set up something like this to make it a lot easier, blah, 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 right? The list goes on and on and on, as you well know, right? So I think guys need to be fully aware of that when it comes to buying courses, buying mentorship programs, and whatever. Imagine this. Every chair in your barbershop filled, every client returning, and every new review being replied to, boosting your shop to the top of search results. Because as you know, empty chairs do not pay the bills. And that's where Automated Barbershop comes in. The all-in-one system that keeps your clients coming back with automated reminders, built-in business growth, review requests, and so much more, so you can focus on the fades and not the follow-ups. It's like having a personal assistant working inside of your business 24/7. There's no tech headaches, no marketing degree required, just more clients and less stress. Plus, it integrates with your favorite booking system and takes just 10 minutes per day, so you can have less hassle and more revenue. So get involved with the future of barbershops and watch your shop and your career grow to a new level. Let our team install the Automated Barbershop system into your business in less than 72 hours by clicking the link in the description.
And I know somebody at some point is going to think this, so I'm going to say it. So they're going to be like, well, if that's the case, why are you guys charging only $500 a month? And my response to that is, well, one, we're trying to capture market share. We're brand new into this space. So we set the price at something that we still make money on, but it is let's make a deal, let's get you in the door price. And that's a strategic approach. Just like people who build courses, who sell info products, who do mentorships, who do coaching, go into it with the strategy of 50 to 80% of people who purchase this will never use it. And so, again, there is no problem with paying for information. There's no problem with paying for coaching. If you have the funds, do it. It can be a great accelerator, but you have to understand, and this is part of the mindset shift. And because we made this mistake, we want you to know it too. So it's like, if you're like, okay, I've been listening to the AB podcast. I know that I got to change my mindset about some of this stuff. I'm going to go out and buy a course. I'm going to go out and buy some info. Just know that if you, like most other barbershop owners, still have a full book that you have to cut every day, you're either going to be sleeping about 3 to 4 hours a night for 3 to 6 months, or it's never going to end up in your business. And so that's the specific reason why we built Automated Barbershop, because there's a huge gap in the market. But that's just a little caveat for people. So I think the mindset ceiling is a big one, because that's what holds a lot of things back. I did want to mention, in terms of revenue, like the revenue ceiling, for example, let's say your shop is stuck at 10 grand a month. Now, this is where it gets a little kind of weird, because how certain shops are set up. So if you're a strict booth rent only shop, you know how much you make every month. Or you should, at least. If you don't, there's a huge problem. For my guys that are on commission or hourly, whatever that may be, one thing that we have seen a lot of, and this is kind of like breaking some of the golden rules of business. You don't know your numbers inside and out. And I've made mention of it before, but the numbers that you should have on hand every single day, that you know, that you either know or have direct access to within a minute: lifetime customer value, client retention rate, monthly revenue, yearly revenue, and growth over or an annual growth. I forget what the actual metric name of
And
that
add
is,
ops
but
cost to that too. How much does it take
yeah,
to run your
that's a
shop
good
on a
one.
monthly and a daily
Yeah,
basis? Daily's a little
yeah.
bit extreme, but I just want to add that in there too because I
Hmm.
think that's something that you can on paper start to strategize. Hey,
Yeah.
how can we get this kind of gap bigger between the operational
Mhm.
expenses on a daily basis to our growth,
And-
our revenue growth on the daily
yeah,
basis?
totally. That's a really good point. But if you don't have access to those numbers, you're always going to be stuck at a certain revenue ceiling because you don't know like what the ups are, what the downs are, right? So that's the kind of foundation of what I'm talking about here.
Or
What
what
goes
levers to pull. I actually want to
it,
right before you jump in,
that
I want to mention
yeah,
that too because we only because we just had this conversation like 2 days ago for
yep.
our own business on MSM, right? Aside from AB, like knowing what levers, like you and I did a pretty big deep dive in terms of, hey,
Yeah,
let's
we had like
have
an hour and 20-minute conversation about
you know what I
this.
mean? And
Mhm.
understanding what levers, because to your point, guys don't know their numbers, but guys also don't know by not knowing your numbers, you have no idea how Owen calls it these levers that you can pull to increase revenue because you don't know what increases revenue to begin with. So if you don't
Mhm.
know and you're just like, yeah, we just kind of get this growth or whatever the case might be, you're kind of up in limbo. It's you don't know what button I need to push to supercharge my growth. You have no idea
Mhm.
because you don't know where it's coming from. I just want to mention that because
Yeah.
that's a point that you made for our obviously for MSM. And I
Mhm.
wanted to showcase guys that hey, this is not just like one shit that we're
Yeah, we're
just
not just saying
spewing.
this. Like this is what we do every
Yeah,
day.
literally, right? And we just had this conversation 2 days ago
Yeah.
too. So I think it's
Yeah.
so fantastic for guys to understand that like
Mhm.
how are other guys thinking about like how do I go about growth in a strategic way? And I like your levers analogy because that's
Mhm.
exactly what guys need to be able to identify.
Yeah. And I'm glad you made that point because that's where I was going with it, but I wasn't
Oh
going
man.
to explain it that way. But having the overarching idea and thought process of whatever your revenue number is at, that it doesn't matter if it's 10 grand, 50 grand, 100 grand a month, I don't care. There are specific things, either channels or levers, as Kaleb mentioned, that go into a portion of that revenue. As a business owner, and specifically as a barbershop owner, I'm going to give you guys specific examples. If you know, like we have multiple clients that are back up in Minnesota, because that's where we're from. During the winter, during the week, it's very slow. People don't like going outside when it's 1 degree. So if you know that it's slow during a specific season of the year, during a specific time of the week, you should be able to go in and pull one of your levers to increase your traffic during that period of time. Paid advertisements, for example. The problem with most barbershop owners is either they don't have those levers available because they're not using them, or they're not tracking that information. So if you don't know how how many people book through your Facebook ad every month if you're running paid ads consistently, if you don't know that number, you don't know how much more money to put in your ads budget for a month or for that week, which is that pulling of the lever when you're trying to impact your revenue. So in theory, in a perfect world, you know on average how many people book through your Facebook ad every month. And you're at, let's say, a $1,000 ad budget for the month. If you know you're going into a slow season or a slow time of year, you can add money to your ad budget, pulling the lever, and you should be able to estimate how much more growth you're going to get from that.
Yeah. And
That
what's too much?
and what's too much. Exactly. So the big part of this is understanding where your traffic comes from.
Yeah.
Does it come? Does it? Well, I shouldn't say does it. How much of it comes from your IG account? How much of it comes from your barber's IG accounts? How much of it comes from your GMB page where there should be a book now button? How much of it comes from your website? How much of it comes from a Facebook ad? These are the these are the levers that you have available to you that you need to be able to pull, and the only way you can pull them is if you have the data. That's the bit, like the entirety of the conversation that Kaleb and I had about this was getting us to a specific number in a specific metric, because we knew that was the lever that was needed to achieve the growth that we're planning for over the next 5 months. It was a very specific, detailed conversation about one metric.
Yeah,
One.
literally one.
And so you should understand how all of that plays a role into the revenue number that you have, the amount of booked appointments and walk-ins that you have each month. The only way that's possible is with data, and not just 1 month of data. In a perfect world, you have historic data, but that only comes from tracking. So start tracking it now. And I'm sure the majority of people that listen to this are going to say, how the hell do I track it? Google Analytics is a great start. If you are using Facebook ads, I pray to God that you're using an API conversion to help track some of this information. We know just from previous experience, depending on the booking system you use, it can be extremely difficult to track conversions through Facebook and IG ads. It's one of the reasons why we say don't use Booksy, don't use some of these cheaper alternatives to your booking platform, because it really hurts you in terms of being able to pull your lever. But this is what high level businesses across every niche, across every size do. They know that if they pull this lever with this amount of money, that they should expect X amount back because of it.
Yeah.
Instead of just dumping $2,500 into an ads account and hoping at the end of the month you end up making more money.
And that might be too much. And by too much, to kind of elaborate for guys, too much means when is it enough? When is it too much money that you're spending where it doesn't make financial sense because you're not getting the return? That might be the case, right? You might only be able to put in, let's just say for a number, your number's $2,000 per month. And once you go past $2,000 a month in Facebook ads specifically, and that can be the same for Facebook ads if you want to invest into organic growth, if you want through, IG promotions, or it's an SEO company, right? Because those guys charge a retainer too. So whatever the growth metric is that you're after, or the growth in general, and you're wanting to invest into that, you need to understand, if this is my lever, when is it too much? Because some guys are, to your point, are going to think, oh, I spent $2,500 this month on ads. If there's a point, let's just say, for example, you're able to dump 10 grand in a month on ad spend. What if that financially doesn't make sense? So now the remainder $7,000, $7,500 that you just spent was pretty much just wasted revenue. And now you're actually upside down, because there is a point for us, for example, as Owen and I talked about the other day, our metric, worst case scenario, right, was based upon cost per acquisition. So without going into the specifics, because that was a long conversation, we had a specific number in mind where if the cost to acquire this particular customer gets over this exact number, that's where it's not worth it. Something needs to change. And those are some of the metrics that you guys need to understand. As far as baseline metrics, even for us, when guys come to us, we just be happy if for the last 2 years you had a month by month revenue number, because most guys can't even get that far. So like, right, like, even, and that's why I'm like, for guys to start somewhere as far as like getting, because I also think it's a mindset thing too, where guys are just not in that mode where they want to see their numbers besides in their bank account, right? But as far as shop numbers for the next 12 to 24 months, right? If you can simply just, of course, we want you guys to have all these other things, whether it's getting a team together in place, or it's someone like us, or a platform, whatever that helps you do it. But at bare minimum, if you can just have even a Google Sheets is free. You don't have to get Excel and pay for a Microsoft subscription. Google Sheets is free. Get your Google account, go on there and put January through December, and put 2024 or 2025, right? And every single month, just put in what number that the shop made. Maybe it's, I don't know, let's just call it 20 grand, right? 20 grand. Then the next month it's 25 grand, right? And now over the course of the next year, and when you go back and look the next year, and now you have 2 years of historical data to Owen's point.
Yep.
That's the reason I'm making this example, because some guys don't even know, like for the slow period, you might think that, oh yeah, July for whatever reason is our slowest month, right? What if the data tells you that it's actually August, or if it's actually February? Because when you look in comparison from January 2024, January 2025, okay, we actually increased here. And then February increased. Okay, now we actually went the same. Okay, boom. Now this month we actually, year to year, we actually decreased. So let the data tell you when some of these slow periods are, so you have a heads up too. That's to Owen's point as well. It's like, you can't just go off a feeling, right? You need to understand, if I know, granted Minnesota, right, in a cold place, that's a little bit more of a heads up, right? But down here, like Texas, right? How do you know? How do you prepare for that? Because Facebook ads in a turn it on tomorrow, and then boom, my shop problems are fixed, right? So you need to prepare. If I can get a 90-day head start on, okay, boom, right? July is going to be our slow period. I'm going to start doing some things now, so that way when July comes, boom, it's going to be like nothing ever happened. So
exactly.
Yeah, that's at least what I would say as far as tracking data. Just do something, please.
Yeah. So these are all ways to break through some of these barriers, right? If you don't want to manually track Google Sheets, you can get something like Barberly or Vagaro, and they do all this for you. Even if you're a booth rent shop, they do all of this for you. So to me, the biggest one is the mindset barrier.
Yeah.
Because until you drop your ego and can say, I don't know how to do this, I don't know how to go about growth, instead of, nah, we just have to get more Google reviews and we have to post more on social media. Okay, sure. Why? Why? Why?
Yeah, I was just going to say why.
Can you explain to me why that's your plan? Yeah. So these are, the first thing is, you have to understand that there are people out there who know more and that you can learn from. And guess what? I'm not going to come in and tell you how to do a crispier fade. You want to know why? Because I don't fucking know. I don't know, and I don't care that I don't know.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
I'm never going to walk into your shop and tell you that you're doing something wrong cutting hair. Never. Because I don't know. What I will do is I'll come in and tell you what you're doing wrong with your marketing, wrong with your operations, wrong with your hiring. Because that's stuff we know. Yeah. And so if you can get to the point that you can say, I don't know how to grow my barbershop, but I want to, you are better off than the majority of barbershop owners.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're at a place that can start. That other mindset is a non-starter. Those are the really barbershops that stay the same, fluctuate revenue, don't know if they even grow year over year. So the first step is break through the mindset barrier of, I can do this all by myself. Because in a perfect world, yes, you can. But and like the guys that you follow on Instagram, Basio, Alex J the Barber, the guys that have done it and are now selling mentorship programs, courses, info products, that took them like 8 to 10 years to learn all that information. If you want to work harder, go ahead. I'm not telling you not to do that. All we're saying is there's a way you can work smarter and get to that point where you can have all of those positives without the sleepless nights, without the problems in the shop that arise from the learning curve. There is another option that you can go to. Just laying that out there. So these are ways to break through some of those barriers and some of those ceilings, where once you can break through those, that's where your shop becomes a 7-figure shop. That's where you're adding 100, 200 new clients a month until your books are completely full.
And something on that too, that I wanted to mention, and this will be my last point. I don't know what else that you wanted to mention.
No, but that was my last point. Yeah.
With those guys, especially the guys who are, how do you guys think that they're on Instagram? So how do you think they're selling these courses, having the time to do these once a week meetups? It's because they have a team. You don't
Yeah.
see me up here by myself. You don't see Owen up here by himself, right? We have a team behind us. You go faster and you go farther with a team. You can still do, if you need to feel like you're big dog and whatever. I had that at one point in my career very early on and quickly realized that that is not the way to grow to the level that I would like to grow and that my team,
No.
my fellow partners would like to grow, right? So understand that guys like Basio and these other guys, right? They're not doing it alone. I think so many guys have this misconception that like you guys
That it's a
look up
one-man
to,
band. Yeah.
right? You look up to these guys and you're not asking yourself, right, what is the team that they built to get there? You're just seeing that this guy's on Instagram. This guy's got 100,000 plus followers or 50K plus followers. I really don't give a shit what it is. And he's selling this course and he's making all this money. That's fantastic. And I really, truly down deep hope that for every barber. But guys don't understand that they did not go about it alone, especially when it comes to, yes, being a barber is one thing. I completely understand that. Being a shop owner, you simply cannot do it all alone. Could you? Yes, maybe, but you're not going to grow to the level that, like a Basio, for example. I know we mentioned his name. Again, he's kind of like one of the industry heads right now, at least from what we've seen in terms of like shop owners. But how do you guys think that he has all these locations and he's able to be on Instagram? He's able to be on these calls. He's able to be in the school community. He's able to do blah, 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 be on YouTube, whatever the case might be. It's because he has a team. And I think you guys need to get that through your minds that
he's not even in his Barbershop's Facebook ads.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
He has an operator that handles all of his, because I'm pretty sure all of his locations are in Florida, but his operator is the one in the
I've seen some of their videos on IG. Like, it's their team, right? Team. And that's the biggest thing that I'm trying to get across, guys, is like work with the team, regardless of what that looks like. Do not sit here. I mean, you can if you really want to, but you can still feel like, because again, this isn't, for example, us. Let's just say you come over to Automated Barbershop, right? We're now a team in a sense, right? We're helping you grow. It's not to say that now when you get to grow in your shop, you have to just, basically we're partners. It's not to say that. You can still feel like top dog. It's still your shop.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't need my name on anything. Honestly, like, give us a testimonial and we're good. You don't need to mention AB after that ever again. Like,
but we care about your growth. That's
right.
The thing. Like, whether it's someone that's in your town that has a small kind of boutique digital marketing agency and you want to go with them, awesome, great. Just find somebody that cares about your growth. Because I'm gonna let you know, the guys that sell the courses, the guys that do the masterminds and all this stuff, they care about you to a certain extent.
What does that credit card say?
They only care about you if you do the work and then succeed because it looks good on them.
Yeah.
Is Basio sitting up every night thinking about the 1,000 people in his school group that pay him $129 a month? No.
Right. And that's with any course creator too. Like when you build a course, it's a numbers game, and the 10 people out of 1,000 that really blow it up is all the testimonials you need to make guys be like, yeah, this is a banger. But like when you have a software or a platform or a marketing agency, you're highly vested into this person or this particular business working, because this is your work. You're doing it.
I do 6 hours minimum market research for our clients and know exactly who we're going to pick off. And that's what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about how we beat, and I say how we beat your competitors.
Yeah.
How we take their market share.
Yeah.
Because as Kaleb mentioned, like, we're not coming in and like expecting like partnership or revenue, but we view it as a partnership.
Yep.
We view it as you handle everything that happens in the shop and we do everything else, because it helps us monetarily, it helps you monetarily, but also that's how business works. Like when you look at mid-market to large market businesses, that's how things work. And just because you're a barbershop with one location does not mean you should be thinking any differently. You're just thinking at a different
Very
scale.
murky lately. Is there anything else that you wanna end this one on?
No, just track your data. It's really important. That's the only way you can pull your levers, and being able to pull those levers is how you break through revenue growth.
Yeah.
That's how you can figure out how to hire better.
Yep.
Because if you have historic data on how long your barbers stay, now you understand, hey, now I might need to start looking for somebody, or if all that stuff. Track your data. It's really important.
And have that mindset of growth.
And exactly. And then change your mindset. Yeah.
Cool. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Again, as always, you guys know that the ad's in the middle, but if you guys want some help, you guys want to discuss further, check out what we have going on. Links in the description of the podcast episode. It's on YouTube. We're everywhere. Check us out on IG, Facebook, or our website. I think at the time of this, we're still building out the brand new website there. So feel free to still go to franchisebarber.com. Otherwise, Automated Barbershops brand new website will be live pretty soon. Appreciate you guys tuning in, and we'll catch y'all next week.
See you.